Welcome to the African Warriors Fighting Championship King of Dambe event at the beautiful city of Katsina. You can see both men on the screen right now. Is Dan Bichi versus Shagon Amadu, ending in knockouts. 3-3-minute rounds, 3-3-minute rounds, 1 minute rest in between. Strikes are only permitted with the wrapped hand. Kicks are permitted from both hands. The drummers urging both fighters on as they wrap their spear in a glove of rope. The referee introducing both athletes to the arena. Dan Bichi versus Shagon Amadu. Shagon Amadu representing House Guru Mada and Dan Bichi representing House Arewa. Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach the final seconds before we begin this bout, just a reminder, this is the African Warriors Fighting Championship. And here we go, round one. Dan Bichi in the blue shorts versus Shagon Amadu in the orange, representing House Guru Mada. Distance management. That's what we're seeing on the screen now. When both athletes are in neutral, aka when they are feeling out the ranges, that's when we're in neutral. That's when distance management takes place. And it's the opening. These are the opening steps for any high level striking bouts. It just is what it is. This is how it goes. You find your range. Where are you most effective, and where is your opponent least effective from? And you do your best to utilize and take advantage of that opportunity as it is afforded you. So, slow and tentative start, which to me as an analyst suggests that both men may have a higher fight IQ and are more willing to observe. You see how much data was gathered before you saw Dan Bichi throw that overhand right, and it was snappy, quick. If his opponent didn't get out of the way, that could easily spell lights out. Oh, and you see him adding the variation and targeting to the striking by going to the body instead of striking to the head and timing with an uppercut in the middle. Yeah, that was a point for Dan Bichi. Shagon Amadu still struggling. That was a slip, ladies and gentlemen. That was a slip, not a trip. Slip, not a trip. If it was a knockdown, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think that counts as a knockdown. And if it's a knockdown, that's a point. That means that it's a victory for the opponent, for the opponent in that round. Yeah, a slip counts as a knockdown, and the referee. It's at the referee's discretion to rule or overrule. But it also looked intentional because he leveraged the top half of his body and pushed him over while having his leg behind him. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Sha'ike versus Dan Bichi versus Shagon Amadu, round 2. So I believe round 1 goes to Shagon Amadu for securing the knockdown on his opponent. And now here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Shagon Amadu versus Dan Bichi. Shagon Amadu, the smaller fighter, just looking at the composition of their frames. Dan Bichi, taller, lots of composure on his side, stalking, forcing his opponent to approach the edge of the sandpits. And I need to remind you, if you get pushed out of the sandpits, that's a 1-point deduction as well. So it's not a good position to be in, having your back to the edge of the cage or the edge of the wall of the sandpit. And you see, feeling the pressure, Shagon Amadu decides to fight back. A good decision, because he's won all that real estate back now from his opponent, and we can go right back into neutral. But what do we see in neutral? Dan Bichi stalking, walking backwards, walking Shagon Amadu backwards, and Shagon Amadu feeling the pressure and circling, using lateral movement to the left, movement to the right, to try to secure some extra real estate for him to mount an offense against his opponent. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Shagon Amadu has been willing to be first, and that has gotten him a lot of success. You see, he plays possum, he lets his opponent follow, he lets his opponent chase, and then he just breaks the rhythm and throws. And that's what has saved him from getting pushed out of the range of the sandpit, out of the wall of the sandpit. All right, here we go. Solid defense from from Dan Bichi, but it looks like it's still like that strike from Shagon Amadu still connected to the left side of his framing on the face is Dan Bichi and colliding with Shagon Amadu. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's a slugfest now. Both men in the clinch. Let's see how it goes. Dan Bichi covering that space immediately, not even giving his opponent any time to think or even breathe. Pressure, pressure, pressure. If you ask me what his keys to success so far has been, being Dan Bichi, I would say it's the pressure. Oh, and then, counter. He countered. It's getting messy, ladies and gentlemen. We have to really keep our eyes open to see what's landing and what's missing. Perhaps the desperation of the situation becoming more apparent to Shagon Amadu as he moves backwards and he decides he's just going to swing as he does now, doubling the strikes, tripling the strikes, quadrupling the strikes, is Shagon Amadu. Not letting that height and reach disadvantage way too heavier in the eyes of the judges. Still trying to be fair, still trying to take the initiative. Excellent work. And we have Dan Bichi still employing the same game plan. Walk the opponent down, win him with pressure, obstructing the vision to distract, and then Shagon Amadu throws two to dissuade him. But he's right, but Dan Bichi is right back into it, and as we go right into the clinch, it's the end of the second round, ladies and gentlemen. A friendly reminder that this is the African Warriors Fighting Championship presented to you from the beautiful city of Katsina. We have Dan Bichi versus Shagon Amadu on the screen right now. Replays on the screen. Dan Bichi has excellent countering ability, countering Shagon Amadu as he tries to go in. You saw it happen several times. He throws twice. This was the one he quadrupled the strikes, not giving Dan Bichi any time or space to retaliate. And did you see the excellent clinch work to collar tie that right hand before he could generate any leveraged torque or momentum for power and stifling the offense? So he threw 4 times, held his hand, locked it in, and he could not retaliate, leading the referee to get in the middle and separate them. That's high level Dambe action. Same kind of technique, same kind of strategy employed in Western boxing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is the final round. The first round being ruled
now, ladies and gentlemen, we're into the second round.
Win for Shagon Amadu because Dan Bichi tripped and fell, and it was counted as a knockdown. All right, ladies and gentlemen, African Warriors Fighting Championship, Dan Bichi versus Shagon Amadu. Here we go again. The strategy has been the same. Pressure from Dan Bichi, breaking the rhythm and forward momentum blitzes from Shagon Amadu. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the African Warriors Fighting Championship. I am, of course, your commentator and host for the evening, Oche Young Jollof Edache. Shagon Amadu breaking the rhythm and throwing there. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like we're going to see the end of this one soon. Sometimes you can just see it coming. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to keep yourself protected at all times. Don't blitz without protecting your face. If not, your opponent will destroy your face for you. That was an int. He was trying to blitz, but he had been doing that all round, all fight actually. He blitzes in while keeping his head exposed, and one uppercut was all it took. It's about to happen. Frame on the face. Frame on the face. And that was it. Okay, no, we're just about to get there. Throw and miss. Frame on the face. Boom. Collision, uppercut. That was it. Did you see the beautiful frame to just keep his head in position for that strike to find the location of his chin? Dan Bichi is your winner. This was a beautiful bout. African Warriors Fighting Championship, King of Dambe events from the beautiful city of Katsina. I am, of course, your host and commentator for the day, Oche Young Jollof Edache. Dan Bichi is your winner.